I give you just what I needed. That's what I needed. I needed some of the cheese. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. I guess you're just what I needed. I needed someone to bleed. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh, whoa. I guess you just what I needed. I needed someone to bleed. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. How long is this gonna go on? Hey, oh, camera angle too low. Hey guys, it's old Hank here. It's Friday night. That means the weekend is here and everybody can be happy. Get your turkey singing on now. Now is the time to turkey sing. All right. Hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, oops, excuse me. I just guzzled down a bunch of Gatorade. Sometimes I have to sip on a bit of Gatorade, lest I remain thirsty. Okay, so yesterday we were gonna... What was it, yesterday? No, I think it was the day before that. I don't know. What day is it? It's Friday, bitches! Ooh, there goes my monetization. Yeah, so I'm just kicking it in the fun hole here. It's Friday night. We're gonna play some Zombicide tonight, so I got my minis painted up in the back. That's gonna be fun. And but before that, I need to get this dang Crifoth project done. So for everybody who showed up after Wednesday's painting session and threw in on Megan and Connor's Kickstarter, thanks. Way to go. That's awesome. Ooh. Oh, you can really taste the gator. That's cool, so go check it out if you're into that sort of thing. It's kind of a cool, brutal wasteland world for 5e. And, you know, get your beer and kick back in your comfy chair and put on your favorite tunes. That's why I don't get to listen to tunes, so that you guys can. And we are going to do Hardscale. Now, I know that I want Hardscale to be green and gray, so that's just how it's going to be. You guys are going to have to live with it. Nobody going to talk me out of this one. Okay, so in the last video, you know, it was kind of a little bit of a how-to. I hope it felt like a how-to, but also this is just me like getting my stuff done right here, man. So I've got the pencil here for Hardscale ready to go, and now I just need to do the paint work. You know, I don't even always do a pencil. Sometimes I just start making blobs. You guys know how much I believe in blobs. Big believer. I'm not even going to bug with the backdrop that much today either. I'm just going to jump right in here and get going. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's good to see you guys. Man, you know what's in store for this weekend? Ooh, I love it when that weekend comes. Everybody gets all happy because they don't have to go work their job and whatnot. And I just love it when people get happy. And you know, one thing that I really enjoyed about Wednesday, doing the Quickfoot Suri, which the Suri are the sort of the lizard men of Crifoth. Doing the Quickfoot Suri, you know, it's actually real nice to talk your way through doing paintings. You know, a lot of times it's just me here in the studio, and maybe I'm, you know, jamming some tunes, or a lot of times I just work in the quiet. I like to hear the cars go by or people walking out on the street or whatever. But you know, it's actually really soothing and calming to kind of talk your way through the piece. So right now I'm just using my lasso tool, and this is just going to give me a really fast fill-in, so I can just get through this first step really quickly without having to do a lot of scribbling. So I'm just using my lasso and tracing in my pencil. And you can see like my main fill color, which is this drab green, is totally off from my pencil color, and I'm not worried about that yet. I'm just, you know what I mean? This is just the beginning, guys. This is just the beginning. There's no reason to worry at the beginning. There's going to be plenty of time to worry. You know? And that's, you know, that's those are words to live by. There's going to be plenty of time to worry. Let's put off worrying for now. How about that? Let's do a little worry procrastination. We'll worry later. Right now it's Friday. I hope you guys got some cool games to play with your friends this weekend. Ooh, speaking of cool things to do this weekend. So, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Oh, Logan, hey, what's up, dude? Man, you're not in here too often, my brother. Good to have you. We're just kicking it here. I'm working on this Crifoth stuff. And you're all going by your real name and stuff. Like, where's Shadowstorm, dude? Blob Ross, that's me. I'm Blob Ross, that's me. All right, welcome everybody. Good to have y'all. So right now we're just getting started. We're just getting the blob in. And, you know, once you got that blob, life starts getting a lot more interesting. But that first step is just got to get a blob, start feeling comfy. Get your hand kind of loosened up, because you know my motto, your brain may not know what to do, but your hand will always know what to do. So you just got, just like any other muscle, you just want to warm it up a little bit, including the brain muscle. Okay, cool. So now I got my main fill in, and if you want to take a further look here, this is kind of where we're at. Right, so I got this thing, there's my pen. So I'm going to get my pencil so that it is sort of lined up with this sort of color concept that I have, right? So I'm going to do like this kind of dark gray or dark green gray kind of scheme. So the reason that I want to line up my pencil and my fill blob, at least almost, like about there is fine. They don't have to match or anything. Blob Ross is a mob boss. Is because when I merge layers, remember how I usually almost always work on one layer? If the pencil and the blob are close, then I won't have to like do a bunch of repairs and hide my tracks and stuff, and it's all good. It's low contrast. So there we go. We got our pencil and our blob are living in harmony right now. And now I'm just using my handy dandy triangle brush that I got the starter brush from Sparth. I've made a few modifications from it, but it's really just pretty much Sparth's brush. It's a real basic kind of brush that just has I don't know why I like a triangle shape, but I like to draw with a triangle shape. So now I'm just kind of making sure my blob is good to go, and I'm feeling confident, feeling happy. Now my color is not quite, remember I always work sort of up from a dark color. I don't feel this is quite dark enough, so I'm going to pop it down just a nudge there. Warmaker 777, I'm going to do this like gray and green kind of jam. And then he's going to have like really bold white war paint. So I want to have a little bit of fun with the scale element, and then we're going to really punch it through the roof with the war paint. So we did some war paint on the Quickfoot, but since this guy is like this mega violent kind of tank character, we're gonna push it over the top a little bit. All right. So we're gonna get started on the head. Now you guys know how I am. Like the head is the focal point, so I usually do it first, and it gives me a good sense of context about colors. And then once I have that color set, I'll sample that color set and use it to do the entire piece. But the head is where I set my tone. You know what I mean? You gotta have tone. You gotta get that Tony tone. So right now I'm just making a lasso selection for the mouth because it is a sort of a specific shape. And I want to get a nice clean read on it. And so there you go. So now I'm at the point where it's time to start painting. No more, you know, the lasso tool, as cool as it is and precise and all this stuff, it's a little bit of like a procrastinating tool. It's a bit of an avoidance tool. Because you're not really painting as long as you're using that thing. You know, you're putting off your painting step. You know, and understandably so, man. It's intimidating trying to do this stuff. Kidding me? Es muy difícil, mi hermano. Ow! All right. So here we go. I got a tongue up in this place. I kind of went with a little bit darker color. And let's get into some tooth colors. What do you say? So you always kind of start with this beigey tone, right? For horns and teeth and stuff like that. Get this going. Now remember, sometimes I'll draw like things that should be sharp and pointy and scary. I'll kind of draw them just as blobs to get started, like these guys. And then later you come back with your eraser or with another color and sharpen off the points. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. But you know, remember, the key is to keep the happy endorphins moving. If your brain is having fun and getting like the reward chemicals, you will not only do things better, be smarter, be faster, be more clever. You will last longer. You'll get more done. So your priority when you're learning or doing artwork or whatever is always to have fun, always to feel relaxed and happy. And that's when the best parts of your brain are going to be firing at full capacity. So here's where I'm taking this sort of inside mouth color, which is real dark, right? And then I'm using it to sharpen these teeth off. You see that? So I'm using space that isn't even really there to cut away from things that are there. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Now I do want some red inside the mouth, right? You want that kind of cool, you know, like how a Muppet has that red in there. And I'll start with the tongue and get it to where I like it. So remember too, if you have a color that you're not sure if it really matches, you do a little overlap, and that's a way to mix paint. It's just like if I had green in my tray and then I just blobbed a little bit of red onto the green, I'd get this kind of darker color, and that's what I want. And the more that you get that skill going, not only can you do it in just a heartbeat, you can do it really, really quickly, but you're going to get colors that, even when they're sort of opposites on the wheel or whatever that stuff's all about, they'll play together in harmony. So now I'm just getting this kind of tomato-y tone for the tongue. Let me get a nice highlight on the tongue. I don't want to spend a ton of time on the tongue quite yet because I'm just sort of not ready. So that's going to be good enough for now. And you can see, like, it feels like we're kind of underway, right? It's great. Are you using a drawing tablet? Yo, Whiskey, what's up, man? No, I use a Cintiq. Drawing tablets are great, too. Put a lot of time on the old bamboo in my day, that's for sure. All right, cool. So now I'm just sharpening these teeth off because I like nice, sharp, scary teeth. And then if you see, like, I did this sort of design where he's got this really big, almost like a snowplow shaped jaw. Right? See that? So I'm going to start using this mouth color as my kind of my darkest color. So like I can fill in the eye socket like that, right? And I can do a little bit of outlining with that color and kind of start playing and having some fun there. And now I think I'm about ready to start lifting colors. So if you guys remember, I kind of start with my darkest color, which is this green right here, this kind of pea green. And then I start lifting, and by lifting I mean, well, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So one, I can just click, and then you see where my little circle is? So I go up a little bit, and then I compare. And I'm like, ooh, nice, hey, ooh, I like that. So this is my next color, and I call it upward. Upward is like a description of sort of in terms of brightness. So if you think of up as brighter. So I call this pulling upward. Now I want to blend a little bit, so I do a light stroke and grab those two colors mixed. And now see this? I have the next color between the first and the third colors. And then I can do it again. I can be real light down here, and now I've got a fourth color. Look at that nice color. So now I can go back and get this brighter one, put it under the eye, and so now I have four colors to play with to create this look. So I'm going to start doing, you know, a little bit of randomness in my blobs to sort of show scales, just like we did on the Quickfoot, right? And then let's see, we kind of want to come in here with this, like that. And it's great to have you guys. Thanks for stopping in again. Had 140 people live on the stream yesterday, so that's fun. I always love hanging out with all you weird two neck hole in the t-shirt crazy people. You got two neck holes in your t-shirt, man. That's how weird you are. People making fun of you because you got two neck holes. But don't listen to them. You be you. All right, cool. So you guys can probably see now the color kit that I'm going to be working with, right? And I still need a little bit of a shade. So I'm going to take that dark tone, very lightly mix it, and then grab the mixture. There you go. Oh, yeah. Nice. So now I got this slightly darker one. And now I can start grabbing my tweener tones. There we go. Get that little tone there. Yeah, now I can start working. Okay, so these gums are going to catch a little bit of light. But I kind of want this to be this darker color down here. I don't know why. Probably just so I can start doing scales, right? The scales really are just blobs. So see how I'm just doing that? I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Always essential to let yourself not know what you're doing. Just give yourself permission. You know, you don't have to have any answers whatsoever. You're here to have fun. That's why you're drawing, right? That's why I'm drawing. And so if you're just here to have fun, you can let all that pressure off of yourself of how good it's supposed to be or what technique it's supposed to be or whatever. And the more that pressure fades away, the happier you're going to be, and the happier you are, the better the artwork's going to be. So now I'm doing that kind of membrane thing, you know, that sometimes they have in like the corner of their mouth, like the stretchy part. There we go. I don't know what that thing's called, but that thing's cool, man. All right, get this kind of tomato-y color. Then there's a little bit of highlight back there. There we go. So now you can see like the sort of the kind of the opening. Yeah, you know, and a lot of time I'll make the same sort of facial expression that I'm trying to paint, and you'll see artists doing that though. You know what I mean? You'll see them because in your mind's eye you can kind of make reference on what you're doing and riff off that. Find inspiration there and find what you're needing to paint. You know, like you'll feel a stretching sensation there in the corners of the mouth, and you want to catch that in your character so that he gets that savagery, you know, that kind of fury. Otherwise, a lot of times it can look like your character is maybe like smiling or laughing instead of looking like fury. And that's where, you know, making your own facial expressions can give you that reference that you need. Like the way the cheeks come up into the eyes is very different in a fury expression than it is in like a laughter or a smile. And I couldn't tell you in simple description what that difference is, but there's absolutely a difference. Yeah. How do you mix the colors? Well, you just grab one color, Dana. And so I have this real dark color grabbed right now, right? Then I come over here and I very lightly paint it on top of another. Then I grab that combination and now I have this color. So that's the way that you can mix colors with each other. And you don't have to like use a tool or stop what you're doing. You can just stay right in the zone and mix your colors that way. So now I'm going to get into some bigger scales. And by scales, I just mean blobs of this kind of lighter color. And here we're kind of starting to see the head take shape. And you know, right about now is one of those moments where I start to feel some relief. You know, because let's face it, you know, when you're drawing, you don't know if it's going to turn out good in the first, you know, the first few moments or the first half hour or so. You have no idea. I don't care how much experience you have. You don't know if it's going to come out good. And that's not a good feeling. It can be unnerving. So when you get that first moment that you're like, hey, I think this piece is going to work, this could be cool, you get a little bit of an endorphin hit, and that's exactly where you want to be. You want to be feeling happy and excited, because then you're gonna tap into that best artist that you can be. There we go. So I'm really trying to get a solid read on this sort of fury. You know, I really want him to be pissed off. So let's try to, there we go. There we go. So see, I just kept struggling with that weird eye socket until I felt like, oh, he is pissed. And there we go. See that? See how much that changed? And you know, let yourself invest the time. I know that it's a little bit repetitive, you know, the kind of the mantras that I use. But I think the power of of believing in yourself comes a lot from repetition. And you know me, I really do believe that if you believe in yourself, that you do your best. And when you doubt yourself, I wouldn't say you do your worst, but you definitely don't do your best. And so it's, to me anyways, it's really useful to repeat phrases and concepts that make me feel powerful, that make me feel like I'm doing a good job. So now I'm doing this thing that I call make it look like you know what you're doing. So right, I drew some blobs, I called them scales, and now I go back with this sort of darker color and draw around what were accidental shapes. And by drawing at those edges, it makes it look like I meant to draw them that way. And any of you guys out there who spend any real amount of time drawing, you know exactly what I'm talking about, which is, you know, you make accidents look like, oh yeah, totally meant to do that. It was deliberate. It was deliberate. All right, here we go. So, still just getting this jaw to read. Put a nice bold shadow under the head there. Right, and then those colors kind of ease up and blend a little bit, and like get another color there and kind of blend that, and there you go. And you know, you can do blending until the cows come home. You can really gently blend and just keep blending and blending out. See what I'm doing here? And you know, for a lot of people, that's an art, and you get a really round 3D look to things. For me, I like a real crayon-y, kind of loose, relaxed feel, and that doesn't really lend itself to a lot of blending. And you know, neither one's right, because this is the art. This is art. The only mistake you can make when you're making art is to not do it. Everything else is completely up to you. It's a realm of freedom. There's no right way to do anything. And that's why it's so fun. That's why little kids are so good at it. They don't ask you how they're supposed to draw a tree. They just draw a tree. And is it a stick with a square on top? Sure, that's a tree to them at that particular stage, and that's okay. All right, so still just doing the same routine that I've been doing the whole time, right? It's little blobs, and then I add a little bit of like sort of an outline tone to, again, sort of make it look like I meant to draw things a certain way. Okay, now I know that I need a little bit brighter color. I want my green to jump a little more, so I just go in, right? And this is just one way to do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. So first I'm going to put my circle a little higher. Then I'm also going to slide my little slider a little bit more down toward yellow. And that's just not quite enough. I want a little more jump. Still not enough. So see, I'm searching for this highlight. And you know, maybe now I'm getting a little bright, but I want a little more saturation. See what I'm doing? And I haven't found the color yet, so I keep searching. Now let's say that I just can't find the stinking color, which happens all the time. Oh wait. Well anyway, one thing you can do is get a gradient. And I know some artists are going to just vomit when they see that I would do such a thing. But see, you can take this gradient and you can put a little bit of overlay color on here, and it can help you discover colors. So there's really the green that I wanted. So I'm going to sample it. I'm going to use my history and undo the gradient so I get rid of that little mess I made. Go back to my brush. Now I have the green that I was looking for. See that? It's just a little too green. So I'm still searching. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to just paint over my mess that I made. Put a little blob of color over there so I can grab it here in a second. Okay, now I'm going to grab that. I'm going to mix it a little bit, and there's my magic color. Nice, that's what I wanted. So you see, I just went through that whole process just to find one color. And I do this every single day. So if you're painting along with me and you find yourself struggling to find a color that feels just right, it's okay. Stay happy. Stay happy while you search and enjoy the fact that you're searching. Let yourself enjoy it. Let thoughts rise and fall and make no ado. Don't become attached to any outcome or expectation. Just let it all happen, man. Okay, cool. So I think I have all my greens, and now I just need to sort of finish up and follow through. So see how I have I feel like, a pretty good sense of like the head popping out. You feel that? Like it's popping out in front of that arm that's behind it. And in my mind, that tells me, hey, I'm closing in. I can probably do a little bit more of the small stuff since I'm feeling confident about that. And by small stuff, I mean like little lines and little detail bits and so on and so forth. For some reason, the word detail always like scares me off. So I usually just call it bits or little things. For some reason, the word detail like triggers some kind of bad response in me. Oh, and you know, happy Veterans Day to everybody. Be sure if you you know any awesome service people in your life to show them your gratitude. Not an easy thing, being a warrior in this world, or in any world for that matter. So we always, you know, it's always good to make sure that they know they're loved. All right, cool. So I like my teeth to have a little ridge line in them, right? You guys saw me do that yesterday. So I'm going to get like a nice dark color here that kind of matches, and I'm going to put this little line here on a few of them. And what that just suggests to me, like the teeth have little ridges on them. You know, not every tooth needs it. I just like to have a few of the teeth that have that kind of, that little cartoon ridge. Sometimes if I'm like making a miniature, I'll even like paint a little line on the teeth on my, like on my dragon miniature or whatever. Okay, let's get this. I need to feel this eye in here. I need to feel his sort of life. So let's get an eye in there, and I'm feeling some yellow. And you know me, at least on creatures, I always go with a real bold color like that. And then get like a near white for the sort of hot inner core there, and then just get absolute white. Put a little nick in there. Now I grab this yellow, and then I'm going to mix it right around. So the way I do that is just put a real gentle, and there we go. So I know that's probably real small on your screen, but it's just painting that yellow onto that dark green and letting them mix, and that's how I find my sort of my next color. Now I'm going to make sure I go back, get a really nice hot color here, and just kind of fill in and make sure it's real hot. There we go. Cool. So now I can feel sort of what he's looking at. I can feel his life presence, right? And that gives me a lot of fuel for continuing the piece, because I can feel what's generally called like his eye line. You know, it's what he's looking at. And if I know what he's looking at, it can inform some of the elements of posture and perspective, and I can, mainly without getting technical about it, just feel where the piece is going and where the energy is moving and where his attention is and stuff like that. So if we come out a little bit, you can see where I'm at right now. Hit that Control S button, don't forget about that. And let me take a look over here for a second. So hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. We got what, 70 people online. Good to have you guys. You know, I would do that War Maker, but since I can only see one of his eyes, I don't want to kill the only eye that we can see. If I had a character where we could see both eyes, yeah, I would love to do a scar with a kind of a dead eye, but I only get one eye on this piece, so I'm going to have to keep that eye intact. There we go. There's that little eye socket there. And then I'm going to put this kind of highlight green. You know, the bottom of the eye socket always catches a little bit of light, and so you can put a highlight there and have fun with it. So one thing that you probably will see, and this is me, ooh, this is going to be neat. So one thing you'll probably see artists do a lot is they'll do this. They'll flip the piece and take a look, and then they'll do this. Why the hell do they do that? It's a way of sort of knocking the rocks in your head loose and checking perspective and impact on your piece. It kind of resets your eye. So every once in a while, you know, and some artists do it a lot, and I don't do it that much, but if I'm getting ready for a bigger stage of work, you know, I'll check my work that way real quick, make sure I'm on track. Okay, so basically everything that you're seeing right here is about all I'm going to need to do the whole piece. I mean, I'm going to need some other colors to do some armor and some other things, but really his anatomy, his anatomical components, you're seeing it. So I don't want absolute black, as you guys can see how vile that was. So I'm mixing black in to make this kind of throat hole color. But you know, I don't even need it. I just don't. I thought I did, but I don't think I do. So I'm going to go in. I'll make a darker color that way, and here's this little sort of throat hole. There we go. Now his throat hole is a little low, isn't it? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to lift it up, and there we go. That's a little better. There, that actually goes like aligns with the lower part of his neck and so forth. Okay. All right, great. So we are getting ready to go into the sort of the quote-unquote the rest. And I still think I need maybe one more color that's going to pop on these scales for a highlight. And I think this is going to be the color right here. Yep, there it is. So you see that one time, man, it took me, what, like 12 steps to find a color. This time I just went in and guessed, and I got the color I wanted. You know, why is that? Because, you know, you never know what's going to happen with art. Howdy, everybody. Hey, Hunter, what's up, man? Good to have you. So now I'm just taking that color that I found, and I'm just getting some nice illumination on the top of the head. A little bit down there, and this is just going to give me a little more roundness and just, you know, drive it home. There we go. Okay, so now all the colors that I need to execute the piece should be contained here in the head, and that's why I do it first. Looks pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. And, you know, I'm not ignoring you guys over in the chat there, but I just got to get this piece done. So I'm sure you guys are entertaining each other. Good to have everybody. I bet it's from people all over the country, all over the world. RPGs are a global hobby. It's one of the things I love about them. Had people from Greece, from Italy, from Spain, Portugal, Germany, France, Canada, all over. All right, cool. So you guys saw also yesterday, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to grab this eye, and I'm going to make sure that I like that color. So basically, I just grab my eye with my lasso, and then I take my hue thing, and I just slide it around at random. I'm kind of like, I wonder, is yellow really the best color for the eye? And, you know, blue is always going to be a really fun, like, you know, cyan is going to bite against these more natural colors in an exciting way like that, you know? That's really vivid. Like that. So now I can kind of use my history and I can go, do I like that or do I like that? And I think I like blue again. So I'm going to stick with blue again. Okay, cool. So what do we got? Hi from France. Hey, Pierre. Bonsoir, Pierre. Bienvenidos. All right. What do we got? Well, I wanted to do this sort of bony thing, right? I wanted. He's got like, he's like defeats his enemies and then he makes armor out of it. So let's see. We're about halfway through the stream. I'm not going to finish this one quite as quickly as I finished the Quickfoot because it's kind of going to get technical here with all this armor. So what do I attack? I think I'm just going to keep kind of running with it and just sort of keep wandering over here to the left. Let's see, this is my starter color. So I wanted to do some sort of big interlocking scales. And so instead of just little random blobs, which I'm going to have some too, but then I'm going to kind of start giving it structure. Like here's a sort of a collarbone right in here, right? And then there's, you know, these under his throat kind of things. And he has a really short neck. He's not one of these long neck lizards. You one of them long neck lizards? Because I don't trust them. And then he has more of a gray sort of belly surface. Remember that belly surface thing we were kind of getting into? So for him, it's more like this armory kind of surface. So just kind of getting a bone-like shape. And there you go. So it's almost like a plate. Now I'm just going to fill it in, and then we'll shade it upward. Remember, up being bright. So just quick fill in, and there you got the sort of the start of this cool chest plate thing that he has, right? So now we're going to get a little bit of shading here, maybe mix a color. There's one, a little darker under there, and kind of make a little bit of a mess. The messes are always your friend. Because remember what I was saying on Wednesday about energy, you know, like sometimes messiness, if it's the right amount, you don't want to make it so messy that you can't understand what you're looking at. But a little bit of mess is always going to convey this feeling of energy or movement in your piece. So sometimes it can really be your friend. You know, but a lot of, you know, more advanced artists than me, they get this really clean, refined look, and I love that look too. So it's all just whatever makes you feel like you're having fun. So this is the sort of the highlight color on the chest plate. It's kind of like these interlocking shapes. So at any time, you know, I can go back to the darker gray, grab it, paint with it. Go to the lighter gray, grab it, paint with it. And just going back and forth and playing. Seeing where this is taking me. So you see kind of the idea that I'm working. So now I'm going to go back to this kind of outline-y color. Give this a little bit more definition. And give some of these blobs a little definition. See that? Now we're starting to get that bone kind of feel. And you know, how do you get that bone-like feel? Well, just go take a look at things like, you know, really iconic bones like the femur or a vertebrae. Really, those two almost could be all you need. And get a sense for what those shapes are like. You know, a really classic bone shape is like this shape, right? You can incarnate that shape in so many different ways. You can make it sharper, you can make it more bulby, you can have little extra bulbs, you can put like little barbs on it, but like all those are bony shapes because they're really just that. They're like the thing that comes off of a vertebrae, which I should know the name of that little shape, but I just don't. So there you go. Just real talk right up here, real talk. Hey, see you later, Urho. Bony scoots, bony scoots. Okay. So, sorry, just anytime I look at the chat, it instantly like vapor locks my brain, and I just go into like what was I doing? What? So now I'm just continuing to look to play with these chest thingies he's got going on. So I'm using like armor-like colors, right? Just kind of grays, which you would normally use for metals. But by not putting too specific of a highlight on this stuff, I can keep it from being steel, and it's more like, you know, gray, bony matter. I can also occasionally like mix a little green over it like this to keep it integrated into his body. You know, so it doesn't look like a piece of equipment. This is part of his body. Because that's just how badass he is. Because he is one of the Hardscales. There we go. So I'm just getting the head shadow to be even more extreme so that head starts popping out, you know? Feel that? That's cool, huh? And then get a little bit of this other bone that's back here, or other set of scales, and maybe this green mixes in a little bit, and there you start to go. Cool. Now really what I'm doing is procrastinating right now because I'm kind of scared of getting into the armor proper. Namely the big shoulder piece. Like, it's a big complicated piece. I'm afraid, and when I'm afraid I procrastinate and it doesn't get done. Because then I get what is it? Cortisol. When I'm scared and surprised and tense, I get the cortisol going in the brain, and you get the cortisol in your brain and you're not smart. You go into an animalistic mode and you're at your worst creatively. So you want that dopamine making you smart and creative and free-minded. And the way you get that is you follow what makes you feel happy. You treat your own instincts as being important, not just as whim, and you just flow with it. Just let it wash over you. So right now I'm just looking to get like a dark waist kind of space here, and a dark armpit here, and just finding a way to like get some dark in my piece. I'm just kind of getting squeamish with color, and see if I like work on one area too long, I just start not liking it and start losing my dopamine. Hey guys, sorry about that. We dropped out for a second there. Yeah, you know, there's a funny thing here in my neighborhood. every day at about this time, it's without fail. It's like at about 5:30. Sometimes it's a little later. Everyone gets home from work and they all get on the internet at the same damn time. I swear. And we don't have fiber optic in my neighborhood yet. I live in the foothills a little bit. So anyway, the last thing I saw was, is this lizard savage enough for flying spit? And the answer is definitely yes. But I don't really do something as specific as flying spit. But I always do little dots that sort of indicate motion or action. So there's a couple little dots in there. So there you go. All right, so now I'm going to bring a little bit of green into the torso. The torso sort of got a little, you know, with some of the intercostal muscles and so forth, like that. Let's bring a little bit of the green back. Get a little bit of, you know, get those Bruce Lee muscles in there. And there we go. Okay, now I'm feeling pretty good about that. So I'm going to get a little bit of outlining on some of these plates. Just like that. It's no big deal. And I'm going to kind of walk away from that for now. I'm just going to call that sort of satisfactory. Because really, all that chest is, it's going to be a sort of a backdrop for straps and other things. Armor pieces and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm a little short on time. And you guys can see how I took a lot longer on this piece. Partially because just the head is a little more complex as far as perspective and stuff, and maybe I'm just talking a little more or something. But also, it's just, you know, you don't need to be the same each time. You don't have to be Mr. Speed, I'm awesome guy all the time. Every day is different. People are different. People change every day. Every day is a new challenge. And let it be. Let yourself be different each day. And especially when it comes to artwork, which can be a long, slow process to get good at. And I see a lot of people, you know, working up that, you know, chain of skill and beating themselves up about it and feeling frustrated and stuff. And I don't want that to be. I don't want people to be beating themselves. I want them to be happy. I don't want anybody to get beaten up, whether it's by yourself or anyone else. So right now I'm just doing a little bit of rounding on the arm. And now that I have just a little bit of a round base, not much, then I'm going to think about scales. But then I'm like, you know what? No way. He's got armor on. So actually I'm going to disregard all of this stuff. And I'm just going to like, let me get bold here. Just do this kind of thing. There we go. Yeah. You know, every once in a while you just, you can feel yourself sort of jiggling on small details, you know, like getting... And it just happens. And then, you know, a good way to break out of that is to just boldly say no. To boldly know where no one has gone before. Oh, you know, I forgot to tell you guys my news, my exciting news. So I'm just working through this sort of armor content. I think my lines might be off. I think this line is actually supposed to be like this direction. Hey, Rooksai, what's up? Oh, so you guys have been watching some of my videos lately. I've been on a bit of a Dark Sun kick because I'm kind of working out my next big campaign, and I know I want some Dark Sun influence and so on and so forth, right? Normal stuff. No big deal. But you guys got to check this out. So, you know, I'm getting into Dark Sun. I'm doing all the homework basically on... you know, where did Dark Sun really come from? Because, you know, back in the day, you know, I don't know. So I'm doing more research into it and stuff, and that's, you know, I found out who Brahm is, which I liked his art before, but I didn't know who Brahm sort of is. You know, I didn't know what that name is. That was new to me. So then I'm doing more research on Brahm, and I'm like, wow, this guy's art is amazing. I love his style. I like the content that he's doing. Like, you know, the subject matter, really, really cool, and kind of badass and helly and real kick-assy kind of flavor to things, right? I'm getting all into it, and then I discover he's a writer. I'm like, whoa, man, I get one of those novels. It's a really bitchin' novel. I'm like, wow, this is so fun. I love discovering new things, whoop-de-doo. Then I look at my Facebook feed yesterday, and he has got a gallery show in Seattle tomorrow night where he's going to be signing books and meeting people. So I'm going to go meet Brahm tomorrow night. How crazy is that? So I'm going to get him to sign my Dark Sun box, and I'll try see if I can get like a funny selfie with him to share with you guys on Twitter or something. But isn't that cool? Yeah, hey, thanks Game Over Club. I appreciate that. You know, it's really just the beginning, because I didn't mean through those Dark Sun videos, I didn't mean to say like, you know, I know things about Dark Sun. It's more, I'm really interested in it right now because I want to try to bring that influence into my game coming for 2018. So there we go. Looking kind of cool. So what's going on with this stinking shoulder? I got about 10 minutes, 15 minutes left on the stream. What is going on with this stinking shoulder? Well, I know one thing. It's not metal armor. He has like bone armor. Okay, so let's just quit procrastinating and dive into this. So here's my tooth color. My bone armor is going to be a little different. I'm going to make it a little more yellow, a little darker, right? So all I did was take my color and adjust it. And I know I kind of want this sort of jawsome kind of thing, right? So it's something like this. Now, that's just not the right base color. It's got to be darker. Because remember, I like to go dark and then bring up. Remember my whole kind of angle about that? Is it like, ooh, oh, great. Okay, there we go. So if I get one line that I like I just did, it's very important that I preserve that joy. Because, remember, it made me feel happy. And if I feel happy, I do good work. So the thing that I did right was this sort of curve here captures that perspective. And to be totally honest with you guys, that's what I was kind of afraid of, was like trying to capture that. So now there's the rest of this. So it's almost like he has some other creature from the wastelands that he has turned into this shoulder plate. So I'm going to erase or just paint over all this data that I had. You know, I want skulls and spikes and all this cool stuff, right? Because metal. And I'm going to just kind of make it all go away. And I'm gonna take it even a step further. I'm just gonna erase. I'm just gonna say, shoot, just empty this out. Go away. So there's gonna be mass in there, but I just don't know what it's gonna be yet. Okay, so there's something like that. And now I've got a little more of a clear workspace. So here's this. The cheekbone of this thing's gonna be up here, and then maybe it had like a cool nose, a nose snout, like almost like a rhino skull. Yeah, like that. Okay. So now I want to get these teeth. I know that I really have fun with teeth because they always look so Aussie and so metal. So what I do is a lot like how I will sharpen a shape. I will also do this for little tooth sockets. So I get my shape, and then I'm going to pull out little bloobies like this. And those are going to make the little sockets in the bone where the teeth are going to go. So in some spots I can erase, and in other spots I use this sort of neighboring color. And see that? I can cut little sockets out of my bone. Look at that. Yeah, cool. Okay, then I take my same bone base color and get my teeth going. There, I'm started on some teeth. Maybe this is like a giant herbivore, so it has these kind of big blocky teeth. And you know, a lot of teeth are just one paint stroke. Just one little blob. So see the sort of the concept that I'm playing with. Now real quick, I'm going to add a layer which is kind of generally against my MO, but it's all good in the neighborhood, right? And this is just going to let me quickly underfill these with a darker tone. Just because I don't want to, like, you know, pick my hand down through there. And that's all I wanted to do, just real quick. So now I'll grab that same tone, get some darkness in here, and especially under here, it's kind of dark. And honestly, I just don't know where I'm going with things. So I'm just going to try to have faith, because this just doesn't feel right under here, right? You guys can probably feel that too. It's just like, yuck. But I'm drawing a complex idea, so it's okay. I'm just going to keep on believing. You can kind of see it's starting to take shape. I'm probably going to need some eye sockets here. Right, and there we're starting to get that sort of dinosaur feel. I've got a dinosaur as a shoulder pad because Warcraft. I need my tier 2 shaman set. Believe me, I am no one to be making fun of playing WoW. I have done my share. so here we go. And then we're kind of setting up this. And now we're about to get into the sort of the next colors that are going to bring this dinosaur to life. Just like I did on the rest of the lizard, I'm going to have to find colors that can lift this piece. So another thing that I missed that's not right is where's the back of this thing? That's what's wrong. Look at this. There we go. It's right there, buddy. You can do this. The back of the jaw that goes around his shoulder, I didn't have that before, and that's one of the reasons it was looking weird. There we go. Okay, and then just you always, bring this dark up into the bone. And that's how you can start to feel some of those, grooves and cracks that form, bony implications and shapes. See how I'm kind of intruding a little bit? And then there's also like nostrils in this thing, right? I mean, it's a skull. And then look at this. This is fun. So on the second nostril, I'm actually seeing through the gap in the skull here. Like that. Now, get some lines. So you guys can see how much more effort this one is taking than the Quickfoot. And so, it's like, this is part of a commission, so I am tracking how much time I put in because that's important for my client to know, what I'm going to charge and everything. But I won't always just jump to say like, oh, hey, discount because the Quickfoot didn't really take a full 2 hours, because then you come around to the Hardscale and it takes 3.5 hours. And so, I just like to let things take as long as they need to take and feel that fun. Which I know I've said probably about 300 times on this stream, but I don't care. I'm going to keep saying it because it makes me feel happy. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we are starting to see the thing taking shape. Finally. And that gives me a great feeling because I was really scared I was just going to mess it up and it would suck. And maybe it does suck. I don't know. I don't know. All right, so getting some brighter color now so I can start lifting. So remember, if you're like me and you don't really know how to do lighting, you basically just treat the tops of things as brighter. Just light often comes from above. As a general rule, it's kind of rare and strange when light is below you, right? So I just kind of run with that and let it be. Unless you're doing a specific piece where, like, a guy is like above a campfire, or he's got like a spell orb, down below his face and it's casting a strange light or something. But using the tops of objects as brighter is a solid bet, I think. So now I need a darker tone. There it is. I don't always just get to lift from dark. Sometimes I need to do a little bit of shading as well, and like I'm struggling through it here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's great to have you. Great to hang out on Friday. I hope you all have fun plans with your friends for the weekend, because man, that's what life's all about. Showing some love to people that you love. Yay, yay. Cool. So now what I want to do is maybe there's some skin under here and there's some scales and stuff, and that's cool, whatever. But I want to tie this thing together, sort of. I want to tie it. And I don't mean like tie the color. I mean literally it's tied. Like, see? I'm going to put ropes on this thing. And these are just fragging lines. Like, I'm just like not even caring right now. I'm just, hi, I'm Karen. Would you like to buy a vacuum cleaner? Okay, here we go. Get a little light on this sort of lower jaw. I don't know why. It's just things I do. A little shadow here. I guess it's a shadow. I don't know. Just cool. Now I need a little bit of an off color for these ropes, and I know I want it to be sort of yellowy. Maybe something like this. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. And then whoop. So I already made this sort of the shadow line, and then I just put a line inside of it. Whoop, like that. Whoop. Whoop, whoop. A little smaller brush. Whoop. There we go. Whoop. 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 See that? That's so fun. Okay, so here's the ties that are holding on. Now, just to throw a little highlight, you'll make these ropes feel like they got a little light on them. See that? Boop, boop, on each one. Doop, 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 doop. And that just gives you a little bit of roundness on your little cords. Okay, hey, there we go. That was kind of the idea that I had been dreaming of. Pretty cool, right? So now I'm just doing like some scarring on the bone because it looks a little too clean from me out at this distance. Like it needs just little pits and scars, right? See this little stuff? Who knows why they go where they go, but I just needed those little thingies. Yeah, now I'm going to keep going. So it's like right away I can see, oh man, I'm ready to make one of these big bold belt moves. Pow, it's right there. Boom, right across. Yeah, that's what I've been waiting to draw. And then maybe he has like a circle buckle right here and like the rest of the belt sticking out right there. Yes! Yes, I get so excited about this stuff. There we go. So this has got this like bone buckle. Yeah, check it out. That's cool, man. That feels good. So after all that doubt, I finally get this nice feeling of like, no, man, it's totally cool. That's good. So now I need to get into my leather. All right, so let's get some sort of rich brown. And I'm going to start doing the base tone for the leather, right? So here's the piece that he's pulled the slack out, and then here's the rest of it, right? So then I just grab that, go up. There's my highlight. Get rid of that little blob there. And then I'm going to put some little holes where he's like, you know, has tightened it sort of. And now I'm feeling like a need for a brighter bone highlight. You guys feel that? So I'm gonna go here. Same thing. See how I do it each time? I grab a color and I just move a sort of a. It's often about the same amount up being brighter, to grab my next color. And I don't know if I'm right, but I don't care because I just start drawing and find out if I'm right, basically. Sorry about the creaking. I think I need to oil my chair. Jeff Haley, you'll definitely have to get Photoshop on its own. And the way to get Photoshop is to go through subscription. It's really affordable. So at the highest level, you can do a $50 a month subscription with Adobe and you get everything they make. That's what I do. So you get Premiere, you get Audition, you get all the tools that I use to make my Patreon, that I use to make ICRPG, that I used to do all my artwork. You get all those tools for $50 a month rather than spending, you know, $2 grand or some madness. Cool. So are you guys feeling this like I am? This is feeling pretty exciting. Like I kind of want to be this guy. That's a good sign that you're onto something, right? I want to play this character. It's a little on the savage side though for me to role play. I'm not sure where I'd begin. Okay, so now I'm feeling like my one strap is a little big and nerfy. So I'm gonna, I guess you could, what some artists call breaking it up. So this is adding other smaller items, which kind of will break some of the read, is another common term. The read being like how your eye responds to things. And you can break, meaning, you see it'll scatter your eye up a little bit, and it'll keep you from fixating on a shape that feels too big, or that maybe it isn't your best piece of drawing or whatever. Maybe you got too excited like I always do. Now I'm going to put a little pin here that's popping out, a little bone pin that's holding it together. And then he's got ties, like everything he has is sort of tied together. So I'm going to go back to my rope color and just echo that rope color. Echoing is another term you'll hear artists say, and basically echoing is I want to hearken, I want to call back to things I've already done, and that way they start to feel sort of stitched together or like they belong together because they echo each other, and mainly pursuant to like their color or sometimes their shape. So if we get into some rings, which I wanted to do on this guy, we could do some echoing with rings. Cool. That's fun, huh? So what's underneath the dinosaur skull right now, I know it's a little vague under there, but I was going to do like skulls upon skulls. So he's going to have some more bones and some more skulls in there. So I'm about out of time, though. I would just stick around and draw with you guys forever, but I do have my homies are coming over. We're going to play Zombicide Black Plague tonight, so I got all my minis painted up today, and it's going to be a fun night. So I got to basically put on my pants and maybe do me a cook and make some schmackos. But there really is the beginning of this guy, and so I'd say right now I'm sort of halfway through. But what's more important to me than the percentage that I'm done is that I think this is going to work out. This is going to be a cool piece. You know, that to me is the most important thing. If I'm feeling that excitement, I can always finish a piece, even if I have to leave it and come back to it. Pretty cool though, huh? It's just from, and here you can really see it, like from that flat, just flat, like almost construction paper blob, all the way up to, you know, feeling this kind of, hell yeah, I mean, that's heavy metal right there. Can you dig it? You know, GIMP is fine. I really don't think the tools are the hard part. A lot of people will spend a lot of time, you know, hem-hawing with the tools and stuff. I really think you can adopt any tool, and if you just put in lots of time and just honestly approach any tool, it could be charcoal, it could be crayon, it can be anything, but if you put the time in and work on it, you can make any tool totally awesome. It's your hands and your brain that need mastery. Any tool can work, especially if you're doing something simple like I'm doing right here. This is really simple paint technique that can work in a lot of simple painting programs. I don't use a lot of the stuff in Photoshop. So anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm not sure how we did here tonight. 80 people, so great to have you guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in, just watching me sort of do what I do, making a living and enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. And that's about it for me. So I'm going to go get ready for my homies to come over and, you know, great making videos with you guys. And I will see you next week for more cool stuff. So everybody have a great weekend, and great to have you around, all that good stuff. Yeah. All right. So until next time, strength, honor, and beer. I'll be right here. See you later, folks. Is that a real song?